Having filmed a trilogy of movies based on Jin Yong's novel The Condor Heroes, the Shaw brothers continued to mine the books with films based on its sequels. These range from the very entertaining to the just plain weird, but as I said in my previous video, I actually find them more entertaining than the original trilogy. This may simply be because the directors didn't feel the same pressure Chang-Che felt to cram in every single beloved scene from the books, and they felt more room to play around with it. It also might just be the Shaw brothers throwing spaghetti at the wall, worried that their dominance was tumbling, faced with modern hits coming from Golden Harvest. Whatever the cause, these movies will certainly show you things that you don't see every day. I do. Back to Guo Jing. Hooray! Brave Archer and his mate throws a curveball. I said in my previous video that there's 3 Brave Archer movies, and they only cover half the novel, and that was mostly true. But Brave Archer and his mate jumps back into the Condor Heroes novel with an important episode not seen in the first films. Guo Jing, here recast as Philip Kwok, and Huang Rong, played by Gigi Wong Suk Yi, return to the Eastern Heretics Peace Blossom Island to see her dad. Strolling through the maze of peach trees that make this treacherous island famous, they discover 5 of Guo's 6 teachers murdered. Guo Jing, based on the evidence, swears to kill his lover's father, and they part ways, as you would. Suddenly, this is much darker material than the previous movies. In my last video, I glossed over Yang Kang, one of the main characters in the novel. Way back, about 20 years before these events, 2 rebels were about to become fathers, and they promised that their children would either be married or blood brothers. One rebel is the descendant of General Yang Ye, mentioned in my 8-diagram pole fighter video. Randomly, a Taoist master and the 7 freaks, Guo Jing's first teachers, arrive at the rebels' cottage and they duel. It's a draw, so they promise to take the 2 newborn boys, Guo Jing and Yang Kang, and train them in Kung Fu for a battle at Huashan when they are adults. Yang Kang gets raised as a Jin prince, and he's corrupted by a really scary witch, and he ends up being a real jerk. Yang Kang turns out to be the actual murderer of Guo's masters, and his comeuppance is the first act of the movie. But Guo Jing and Huang Rong are left with this orphan child, Yang Guo, son of Yang Kang and their friend Mu Nianxi, who we met 3 movies ago, played by Kara Hui. Like champs, the couple agrees to raise the child of their enemy, but they refuse to teach him Kung Fu.
He has too much of his father in him.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Kwok's version of Guo Jing is a much more mature and intelligent character than Fu Sheng's from the Brave Archer trilogy, but that frees Fu Sheng up to do his comedic shtick again here. He learns Kung Fu from the now insane Western Venom, who's hopping around like a frog. The Chuangzhong sect, portrayed sympathetically in the Brave Archer and in the novel, show up as aggressive villains, and the whole thing climaxes at the Tomb Clan's hideout, which, as you might guess, is inside a tomb. I enjoy the first half of this film much more than the latter half, but that might just be because I haven't yet read the sequel, Return of the Condor Heroes. But that doesn't stop me from thoroughly enjoying the second movie in this review, which is based on the same book. If you read Return of the Condor Heroes, which I have not as yet, the major theme is that of forbidden love between a master, Xiaolong Nu, and her student, Yang Guo, son of Yang Kang and Mu Nianxi. Brave Archer and his mate skips over all this, but Little Dragon Maiden just makes it the central story. Bumbling his way into the forbidden, women-only ancient tomb, Yang Guo finds himself entangled with the hermit Xiaolong Nu, played by Mary Jean Reimer. Reimer's father was American, hence that outrageously Western name. They practice some forbidden kung fu together, some of which requires exchanging energy while naked, masked tastefully by a shrubbery. The great Leslie Chung has to wear a diaper through this training, but it's not the most humiliating thing he has to do in the movie. I've mentioned director Hua Shan before in my reviews as somebody who could handle serious action, exploitation, and childishness with equal energy. Little Dragon Maiden has a little of each. The fight scenes are fun, if fantastical. Plenty is made of the 2 stars' physical attractiveness, and some of the violence is riotously messy and unconvincing. All of it, though, is quite entertaining. Now, as for the childishness, you need to be ready for the Condor. In the novel Condor Heroes, Guo Jing has domesticated a pair of magnificent giant eagles, who are inaccurately translated as condors in most translations. They're more like rocks from the Arabian Nights, mythological giant intelligent birds. Well, in Little Dragon Maiden, they decide to show the rock, which was wisely avoided in the Brave Archer trilogy and Brave Archer and his mate, all considerably more grounded films than this, and the rock looks like Big Bird dressed up as a dirty chicken. Now, this makes a chunk of the movie difficult to take seriously, as the hero bonds emotionally with a guy in a giant chicken suit. And when the rock rescues him in the final fight, let's just say the finale of this film is one of my absolute favorite mind-blowing moments in wuxia movie history. I say that with affection, but not necessarily artistic respect. In short, I find Little Dragon Maiden endlessly rewatchable, although maybe not for all the right reasons. Leslie Chung and Mary Jean Reimer are both super hot, and the insanity of the things that happen on screen rival Thai or Mexican B-movies, which to be honest I find refreshing. There's Hollywood blockbusters which I could endure for only 10 minutes because I knew exactly what I was going to see for the next 90, and I could use that time just living my life. Little Dragon Maiden is not such a film. If you want to be surprised and amused, this is the place. More to come in part 3, the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber review.